Recognizing time screens, interference of change, position, location, directions. Everybody has to understand how to use the ecosystem. The energy line center is collaboration, there's communication, but it's all through levels of operation. Now, the awakening process comes in a unified ascension, right? You have the energies, you have the grounds. That's the opening. That's the first position location when you come into your ecosystem. The ecosystem leaves and you come into the ecosystem, which is a new DNA pattern. It position locations to its directions. You have to really understand how to use it in all level system, the avatar connection. Right? It's very powerful when you start traveling more levels of the mind. The mind starts to relate everything that you do through your energy locations. How to use your Schumann resonance, a vibration, signal and interference locations, all line center, inline center position, circle locations to its calculation, signal and interference locations. All right. So you truly understand the sound barriers it picks up when you're traveling. Signal and interference position location line conditions. You already know the sounding of XT1000, right? So really understand how to use the vibration more inside line. It opens up more capacity to your position location of directions and how you use it through your interpretation. It's very powerful when you understand more levels of the ecosystem. The energies gets more powerful. The electrical system, the energy line center, inner rotations calculations, time sequence times box, time calculation times pi. It interlines its position locations, right? So every time I say times pi, time sequence, times calculation, times box, it's all levels of what happened from here to here from inside position. All right, so it's the space that's inside that has to understand its equation to its location. Because you always need to understand the formulas, which is connected to the structure. Structure, formula, formula, structure. So it's all about you balancing where you're going when you're traveling through your ecosystem. You look at the tree formations outside, they know the colorations, right? They know exactly what color to change if they're in the winter, how it changes all levels of orange, how it changes all levels of green, how it changes all levels of yellow, right? They know exactly what they're doing without even thinking. It's the knowing and doing is the concept, all position, location, and directions. Recycle, 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 resurface, 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 rebirth, rebirth, rebirth. So it gets a lot more easier once you understand that you're on a full cycle of rotation line center, interference, location, and direction to its position. Okay? Now, it's all about understanding where you are and where you are set in travel, knowing exactly how to use your ecosystem to its locations, right? Because it's the energy line center, signature interference, location of weather. If you're looking line center interference, you see thought recognition of timeline rotation interference, raining high center locations, water strategies are high signaling locations, 1,000 unit location. 1,000 unit location per second. That's how fast it's. And remember, rain is always on a 45 angle. You know why it's on a 45 angle? Because it's set in shape, line, center, and interference locations, redirecting signals. So this is what it is in calculation. Anything that surfaces in the ground line center, I don't know if you know that, but it has light and has dark. It sets up shapes. It sets up ground interference. It sets up light signature locations. It sets up code leading line and rotation. It sets up hieroglyphic location line conditions, right? Spot checks, spot centers, spot interference locations, all levels of weather patterns, communication interference. You guys have to learn how to use not just your ecosystem, but you have to learn how to use the weather inside the system, how to use your airs, fires, earth, and air, location, position of its water. So it's in position of directions. All right. Now we're going to signal in high center line condition. We're going to go to Iceland. Iceland is extremely powerful position, location, directions. You have to learn how to basically stand in one position line centers for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and understand how to fluctuate up and down. Keep yourself still in position locations because that's what a tree does. Tree doesn't move, right? The tree doesn't move until you understand why it's moving. So it's in its dimension. It's already a floating location, knows exactly what it's doing. It understands its graph, understands its coloration, understands its space, understands its time. It understands its position location. So when you look at it, it's not standing. It's moving extremely fast. And every tree is connected to every other tree. They communicate to each other, right? Every single day. Not every single day is the same day. Just different frequencies, the colorations of wires, right? The connection line center interference location of Lucy. What she was trying to understand what's going on with her. Why am I seeing this? Why am I seeing that? When people are on the phone, lasers or position locations, high signaling, right? Sonar coming in, setting a signal location to space. Alpha channels, delta line center interference location, optical line center interference line center location and directions, right? Signals and position locations. How to use all levels of view is its calculations, and how you use your ecosystem is all levels from inside connection, right? It's a compartment system. You have to understand all level connections, because tomorrow we're going to go to all line center to mirror all line center rotations of a meteor shower. You guys have to understand how to use all communication of fluctuation of different weather patterns, and it interlines its connections to its oxidized high cis location. How you use your oxygen levels of capacity and interference, it position locations of its directions. So it's very powerful when you connect to all line center. So if everybody's doing well, after that we go to Zoom Q&A question locations. All right, so in high interference, structure is all levels of view, but you also can do it through formula. I really want you guys to understand, the more you go into capacity, you don't need the structure. It's already done. You don't need to put it on plateau of paper. Paper is structure. Your days of the week is structure. How you get up in the morning through rhythm patterns and focus, location, and clarity is structure. You have to get out of the structure, because space and time is all levels of the mind of speed and acceleration. The faster you go, the more you integrate location to your future. And that's what you want to see. You want to see more levels of view through perception, and you want to co-create these things, right? So if I connect to a visionary line center interference of triangle locations of 36 plateaus, interference line connection, done. It's set. What do you want to do with it? Store it back in information. Goes back inside. So in calculations, when you need that, it comes out. It's all set. Send it out. Manifest it, right? So if you don't want to manifest it today, you'll manifest it tomorrow. But the tomorrow is the now. So remember, every day that you're living is the same day, different frequency, different colors, different light, different intelligence, different planets. You're never, ever on the same planet, because it's all connected to your thought locations, right? So it's next to impossible to create something that's already created. It's already manifested, unless you want to fix it. If you want to fix it, now you're going to position, location, and directions. And now what's happening is that you are changing the frequency to its structure location of its diagram line system. So in calculations, that's so we go through graph line center, rectangle, okay? Communication interference, high center line rotation calculations. It's pretty simple, right? Identifies all line center. Center position locations mean high center. Trial position location and directions, all level system line conditions into a triangulation. See? Now, in position location, I can go up in high signal, right? Or I can down cross high center interference, wings, communications, right? High center line conditions, bad signal locations, Benetron, communication line rotation, calculation high interference loading connection line center rotations. But you have to understand the graph interference to you to position location is a walkway surface. At high channels is high line center. It measures your communications on line center, how to use your shades and shadows to locations, and how you use your moon of interpretation. At high channels is high line center location to its shadow locations. Now, understanding what's going on is to understand the travels of view. Now, travel interference location is take you all lines of code system, right? ICE line communication, code system, line center interference. Applied to division location lines, and sectors, communication vectors, quads, high center location of center communication line center into levels at intergalactic line center location is position of time. Now you're traveling. Travel position locations. You're already traveling already. You're already setting signal. You're already done your position locations to all levels of what's happening with your navigation line conditions, all levels of view through all locations, right? So when you're traveling high center interference, you have to recognize your time position locations of all line system. Simulation, high center interference, simulation locations, and the Fibonacci line system locations. High channel, high line center. Okay, so go like this. Looks like stairs going down in position location. All right. And it's basically like stairs going up in position location. All right, crossing stream. Okay, it's a little bit confusing. It gets more complicated. So you have to understand how these things are set up. There's so many ways of vortexing through communication, through anything through a portal line center is all levels of dimensional location. But you have to understand your signature location, your ecosystem location to its weather patterns, and 12 signal location to its position of time. Okay. Once you center line center location, you change the line center interference and you go in the opposite direction location. Fibonacci square line center circuits in position, location, and direction. Okay? Now it gets more complicated, and then you set up another secure line defense, and you protect more around communication cyclones. Now the cyclone comes into weather pattern. Now you have the Fibonacci sequence going up, and you have the Fibonacci sequence going down. Now you're in a 24,000 line signal in a clocking locations, or you're in a 48 window in position, or you can be in a 72 high center in a computer interference into a 144 crystal activation. Now, in position of directions, it's all about understanding what you're doing with the calculation. It's the most important thing, right? Because the thing is, you can understand all levels when you understand the triangulation. In position locations to all levels, when you come into higher levels of communications to your Merkabah connections. See the Merkabah? See how it changes direction? I'm showing you how you do these things, right? This is going to help you more through the ecosystem to really understand how trees are information of changing colors of seasons. Well, you guys have to understand how to do that through a rainbow graph, because your rainbow graph stream is changing locations. Every single time you're creating thought lines, it's changing your chakra system of your option line center. Interference, location, and directions. So you got core line centers in position. That's you in the center line, right? That's you. In calculations. So you're creating thought. There's a thought line, right? Training another thought. There's a triangulation, all right? In position location, you're structuring communications. So every time you're creating a thought, it's creating structure. It's creating geometry. It's creating foundation. It's creating geometrics. It's creating geographical location to where you're going, right? So in calculations, you can split the line center in rotation, set position locations, all levels. Okay, butterfly effect. Now communications to a graph line center to a line center locations to a TV reception line center to a circle location of a ground center interference. Its position locations. Now you set the signals, high center location. Electrical light comes in, set an interference location and directions. High signals down, signal interference. Opens all communication, particle system. Opens up all communications, round line center and direction location to all position location and direction. All right. So it signals its position locations. All right. Understanding communication cyclones, high center line and rotations. Now you guys have your suits on communication. Understanding weather patterns and communication of Iceland, what it's like to actually understand location and do its connections. After triangle force line centers, you have 40-day window line center and experience, 40,000 line connections per second, and 40 position locations of directions of Mount Everest. You come out of force line center locations, you're going to slide down, signal interference, and direct locations, command assist locations, set up new antenna, and hide location. And position location and directions, knowing exactly how to communicate to weather patterns in your ecosystem. Okay? So in position of directions, it's very powerful, right? So all the information is given to you the day before. Now, the day before is the now line system. There's no before, there's no after, only the now. You understand that? So you can't go from 7 line 7 equals 10. So you can't go to 7, 10 until you understand what 7 is. You can't go to 10 because you have to understand what 7 is. That's the true understanding. So you can't go from 7 to 10 until you understand 8, 9. Okay? So it's position, location, of directions, right? Like 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. But where's 6? What happened to 6? Well, I didn't know. 7, 8, 9. Get it? 7, 8, 9. I did that as a little joke. So in position of direction, I say, well, 7 communicates high center locations, 8 the sandbox to 8 line center location of 6. 6 was offline interference location of directions, but at 42 its division location to its lights. And then we went in position location directions and we set up cross circle locations. So it's interesting how you set location from 7 to 10. To understand 7, you have to understand 8 and 9 line system. Okay, so once you understand the 8, 9 line system, the 8 and 9 line center in position, high forces is communication triangulation, all position. 8, 9 in high center locations, circle its position and direction. It opens all communication cyclones. Now the cyclone comes into high line center rotation and coloration into ground interference. Cyclone channels communication rotations. So the 7 line connections turns into a triangle force line center to all levels of a triangulation force line in communication interference, setting sonar line position location and directions into all levels of east north line center In direct and high center location calculations, once you understand the 8, 9 line center, you can in position locations plus 1 high system, which is 10 line system location. All right. So it's important to understand how to use number sequence of code systems. This is all levels of the alphabetical stream center. So you got 26,000 line centers. 26, right? 1,000. All right. Equals line center. All right. Now, that's a code line center interference. Bracket interference to its position location, which is the location. Okay. LC's location, right? Length, high center of communication, right? So, and if you want to change that, you change it to graph, G. If you want to change the high line center, you change it to grounds, right? So it's all levels. You cross the signal location, G equals line center location of levels of location. So it crosses signals. Now, it gets complicated if you don't understand position all levels through your calculation streams. It opens all communication system, right? So let's box line center equals wave. 3 wave line centers, okay, triangulation force in high calculations in flux capacitor. That's easy. Now, in position location, flux capacitor, remember, you have the line signal because the XT1000 comes in and scans your line center in position of directions, all position location to its equation. Triangulation, graph line center, map sequence, map program location to its position. Identification I center interference. Now, once it scans its high center, flux capacitor comes in position locations to the high system location. High channel is its high line center. XT1000 crosses signal and its position of direction. So it's amazing how it vortex and communicates to higher level rotation calculations. It scans its line center. It can vortex into other line center location to its Y factor. In position location of its directions. It scans its communication, sets up crop circle location to all levels in position and direction. Ooh-ah. Now, it's interesting how you look at these things because you have to understand more lines of you through connection. This networks your system location and how you interpret your signals, how you use your calculations, how you use your line centers, how you use your formations to its formula. Truly understand all levels of you is inside position of direction. But it's incredible when you reach higher levels of formation of formulas. So that's to understand that you are sitting up the graph and the XT1000 has to go through the line connection, right? If the line connection is offline signal, it's going to put you in a position location off system. So it's really interesting when you look at these things and it formulates its high locations. All right, so are we all confused? More than ever. Bam, how's it going? Jill, how's it going? Ambi, Terry, Don, Lindsay, Gypsy. All right, Danielle, Belinda. Remember, guys, we have Zoom after for Q&A. So rooted centers, locations, all levels, high center locations. The more you high rise, the more you get out of your thinking and into your knowledge. Knowledge is this communication cycle. It's all about using the mind. How to use the mind is the collaboration location of the positions. All right. So it calculates and modifies all levels of view location. So all you have to understand is basic understanding what you are through a TV line connection, because that's all you are through location. That's it. You just have to understand everything inside the outside locations. So it's very powerful when you communicate. So you got a TV line. Okay. Now, that's what it looks like when you're higher force line centers. This is how it recognizes location higher vibration line interference. White and dark changes its vibration. Right? So it's trying to understand you through line system. Too fast location. Too slow from a formation. Pretty good. So it's all about signaling channel locations. So you got TV line equals box, position, location, and direction. Right there. Doesn't look like much, but that's the connections to a signal. So if you look really close, you can really see the white graph and the black line center. See the white graph location? So understanding interpretation of the levels of formula. Okay. To understand all levels when it's calculated, formula. Integrated to a system. All right. So your plasma line center, formula and position location open all cycles. At high centers is high line center. Let's plot it to visual locations. I don't want to get too complicated. Am I getting too complicated? I think I am. All right, so bringing down line center and position location into all levels. So I'm going to go into, let's say, 944. I'm at 944 miles per second. That's where I'm at right now. Okay. I can't go any position lower because I'm in position location to everybody else. But if I want to go in position location to higher line center, okay, higher equals, always have the flux capacitor location. All right. In position location into 844, in position location of 744, in position location of 644. So it's all about understanding your cyclone location to center and high interference location, how you use your flux capacitor in high rotation. All right. So it's all about going around all levels of its clocking system. It's a web graphing system to its position of directions, guys. Okay. So it's very powerful to use these things. But I really want you to understand how to use your calculations of structures into formula and how the XT1000s travel through its line system. So remember, any calculations. Now in ICE is set up to grid interference. Going to the all line center, we're going to go into 150,000 line connection underwater city line system. It tells you information locations set in a new grid centers, grid interference location, and grid circles. Open up communication and perception line. Set the team interference line conditions. Get them into their console communication of their gauges. Make sure when you guys come out of the water, make sure you don't come up too fast, right? Because you have to basically understand it's a rhythm pattern. You don't want to come up too fast, like, you still have water coming out. So it's important you understand that. Basically understand the communication to a system because you're imploding and then you're coming out. And when you're coming out, you're coming into the atmosphere. It's like exposing the atmosphere line center. Okay. So it's true to stand. You have to stand the connections through the acceleration because it forces its communication lines. Really understand the oxygen lines and their location of you through oxygen. It helps you all form mates, high center locations, better communication of particle system. Helps you in all formation locations, calculations. So where are we through division line center? All right. Grounding alignments, E fields, engaged. This is very powerful school day, guys. There's a lot more going on. So how to set these things online in rotations, calculations. Tunnel line centers, mountain interference location, set up satellites, new tunnel, new commanding centers, rotation interference. Missy, how's it going? Rainer. Okay. Skyla. Bow. All right, little Jess. All right. Given the information is low levels of vibration, and that's how it interprets its system. So when I communicate with you, it's communicating to your avatar. The avatar either understands it or needs to understand more. If it doesn't understand more, it doesn't have memory. If it has more memory, it might have too much memory. So it has to be balanced. You have to be balanced when you're getting your equalized centers. An equalized center is its measure. It's how you measure your scales of you, right? Too much information on one side. Whoa, you're going to tip. Whoa, you're going to tip, right? So you got to be balanced every single day. It's a scale. And that's what it is on the male line center to female line interference. Okay. In direction locations, right? That's how it works. So it's a coloration of light that you understand line system locations. If you're in a clocking system of 24,000 light interference, you have to truly understand how to use the 48, 72, and the 144. Right? Once you get into 144, you get into levels of rainbows, communications, graph line centers, graph interference, graph triangles, box centers, shape position locations, digital lining, high interference of calculations, energy fields, electrical fields, panel line center, laser direction interference, and position location directions. It's all through computer operation. Right? So it's a lot of fun when you understand your travels of space and time location. So getting into that high system, you guys are in a 25 line center, 24 line center interference at 22, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Out of the water. Out of the water location. All right. In high center location, underwater cities are set up. Okay. Getting calculation modification really connect to your line centers. How do you communicate with your sectors, your vectors, and your quadrant line centers? Interchange line center interference. This is quadrant level 6. Mistrusting high center location. We got laser direction off center, an electrical field line in rotation, and any XT1000 line connection. So, you're asking information. You need information. You need to understand where you're coming into an outline center, that you're fixing these things. So they come to you when you understand your location. You have to identify yourself first before you get anything in location air travels. Right? If you don't identify your system, how are they going to know where you are? They know where you are, but it's for you to know where you are so you can understand where they are. Right? It's your intention. Force recognition of anything through creation is its location, guys. How are you going to manifest anything if you don't understand a triangle line center to a line position location of 3-point line system, 6 in position of 9 line center and interference location, offline position location in reverse direction? Okay, so it's high line center interference of its position location, right? At high channels, its high line center to all levels of time, right? An hourglass. Now, this measures your line center. Scales interference location directions. You got water lines. There's your water. All right. So it's all about understanding is the balance of communication here. This is your water level. You stay here. You don't go anything above that until you understand your information of your memory. Okay. That's a track line center into your road graph location. See that? How it comes in position. Now, once you understand that, that changes all line center and how you direct your location to your system of provision location of calculation. All right. Now, once you understand that, your graph line center comes into electrical fence in position. It sets signals. Now, understanding your travels, you circle location of 3, 6, and 9. So 3, 6, and 9 is this location. You triangulate it, high center, in position location. Now, you don't need a box position location directions of grounds because the ground is already set up through fluctuation. You just have to understand how to use your flux capacitors. Once you come into your diamond core, it's all set in provision. Okay? Now, once that's set in high center interference, an XT1000 comes in high center line condition interference in position location directions, right there. Checks everything, right? So basically it goes from here, it goes here to here to here to here to here to here to here, and back up position, back in the center, back up where it is. So it travels right through its location. So it tells you exactly what you did right and what you did wrong, all through triangulation, all through structure. All right. So once you understand that, you can understand that this is a road graph location to its position of its direction. It's amazing when you go through these line connections to its AI map, the coordinate location. There's the snake. So in position locations, snake lines, serpents, all line center interference location. It's not what you think it is. All right. There's no good and bad in anything unless you see it through perception. So it all levels its position location of directions. So, but you have to understand that you are setting up structures of view. So your thought is connected to its creation, which is co-creating already. So understanding how to use it through your imagination, all you have to understand to store it in your cloud system. So you're coming into more expansion, more memory, more scales, bouncing the scale, bouncing the scale. If you can't bounce a scale, you're going to tip over to one side. So it's important you stay in the center line every single day through your thought line. So in position, location, and directions, if I'm going forward, all right, if I'm just going forward like this, what did I just finish doing? I shift everything through hologram structure, right? So if I'm moving back, I'm shifting everything back to structure. If I'm moving side to side, the wall is moving and it's opening up, right? And then you go through, right? And then you can come back, but you're going to come back to your heart. That's your command system. That's your base. So understanding all levels. Okay, it's like opening a window. Right? That's what it is. And looking in. All right. So it gets much more easier once you understand your position location of where you are through your coordinates. Okay. Your position is everything when it comes into the mind adaptation of space. It's how you interpret all levels of your ecosystem, right? So the ecosystem is basically the collaboration. It coordinates its system location to its position of time. Space sets up highline centers in high center interference. Okay, so you have the ecosystem. Okay, your ecosystem, right? Now, the eco is basically the energy line. Okay, this gives you levels how you use your energy fields, electrical force line conditions, and then you get in position. So E equals communication equals collaboration equals command system. All right, that is what you have to understand. Once you get in that position, it all comes levels of communication of operation. Okay, operation. All right. So, one thing's first, truly standing that to make it very well clear, through the ascension, through unified, again, is to know that you're coming to energies of the grounds. Two is opening. So it's opening the process first. And once it understands position and it starts living in the spiritual line, you come into the energy of its force line, of its communication, of its collaboration, of its commanding system, and its control of all line center of operation. Okay? So, all right. Does anybody here let's see, I still feel the pull. That's good. With the shift of the tectonic plates, the original dimensional portals, stargates will be revealed. Yeah, exactly. Sector intercom line, because open data stream. Communications, 4/line 5, receiving laser beam, interference of rotation, blasting all ice balls. There you go. Boom. Calculation ICE center interference of direction location, resetting satellite centers, 10 communication line rotations to Mount Everest. So in calculation, comes in this position. All right. All line center, Mount Everest. All right. So in position location, X2000 comes in, high center line conditions, drops you off. All right. Here, here, and here. 3 line centers in position. Now there's a tunnel that's set in location. All right. It's all set up, traveling through it to its high line center, all the way down line locations. So setting up energized line domes, communication interference. Set up a clocking line center rotation of dome line conditions. 1 position location, 2 position, 3 position, 4 position location. All right. So this centers its center line center to Mount Everest. Keeps it on its scale. Right. Everybody knows what a scale is, right? It's a scale, position, location, and directions. All right. It holds position all levels into a new fluctuation line condition, which is 3 patterns. Okay, up line center and rotation calculations. So the 3 XT1000 lines, high position of its directions, centers down in correlation. Okay, here, here, and here. Line cross its signals. Sets up temperature readings and interference location and directions, right? It does an implantation line of a clocking line rotation in position location of a 24 signal, 24 atmosphere of spiral location. Opens all communication to its high line center. All set in high rotation. So the clocking system is now set in high interference, crossing line centers. Okay, opening cross rotation, coming in communication of sonar line center rotation. Setting signals in high interference. All position locations to its high line center. Coming into north line, okay, in position locations, into east of south line in rotations calculation. All right. Setting signals in high center, sun communication, high channels, high line center. All right. So sonar line center, sun communication, omega communication channels, sonars coming in high interference. Setting signal locations. Now it channels its downline center location into its west of its south line communication cycle, high center interference. Set position locations, measure communications, all levels. High center its position location of all directions in 24,000 lights, 24,000 grounds, and 24,000 locations in its atmosphere location. Done by equation. See? That's how you do these things, right? Simplifies. It's easy to do these things. Once you understand the complacement of the simplicity location to its calculation, all levels it scans its system to all levels it scales, and how you measure communication, how to ground things, how to level things on structures when you're on a wall and you're putting up a picture or whatever on a shelf. You need to level, and there's water inside. You have to level it out, right? It's the same thing you do with locations with Mount Everest. It's all done. It's all set. So Mount Everest's Highline Center location has got a fifth dimensional location now. Done by equation. It's amazing how we just finished doing these things, right? Knowing what you guys can do at all levels of your ecosystem. So taking you guys out of 7, 8, 9, back in high center. All right, so you guys are back where you are, position locations, all levels. So understanding the calculation of the levels of you, knowing how to shift anything in your position location is its energy line. It forces you to wake up to understand the mind and perception is everything through its correlation. How to set things up is all levels of view to the mind system. All right. So incredible. We just finished doing it. Pretty well. I know. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like mountain engineering. Okay. It's very powerful how you do these things. So it's all about understanding that if you're using a scale, and let's say you got the water line, right? It's in calculations, and let's say everything, you got some weight there. Okay, you have to realize to understand the scale, anything that if you set position location offline, it sinks. But if you freeze it from the bottom, it freezes everything on top. Okay? In position location. Right? That's where you come into levels of neutralizing nitro. In high center locations, you can use it in so many level system locations. But it's incredible how we use these things because we use grid line centers of ice caps in positions how we set the grid line center. Okay. And we use the temperature readings, understanding the ice surface, right? So wherever there's a laser line center interference of a pyramid that's spinning extremely fast, right? And it indicates its heat patterns, right? So the ice has to stay frozen or everything sinks, right? So it's a temperature reading. And it all calculates and modify how we use division locations of commanding systems of space anomaly. It sets signals in high interference. So this is platitude division locations as we use mountains as satellites, location of antennas. It sets position locations, how we use the factoring communications of your weather patterns, of your seasons. All right, you have 4 seasons inside. You have to learn how to control it through weather. So it's extremely powerful, isn't it? Everything is useful, right? So, yeah, I know. And that's understanding not just your travels, but understanding what you're doing through your travels puts you in a better provision, better perception to the mind system because it correlates and it puts everything in your calculations, right? But you have to understand your measures. You have to understand your scales. You have to understand your coloration, right? You know, if you're traveling too fast, okay, I'm traveling too fast. What's going on here? Something that I missed. You missed a scale, right? So you have to go back. Now that back is the center line that's offline interference to all levels you measure communication to digital frame location. So it could be a number sequence that's off calculation. It could be a weather pattern that understands its position location directions. It could be a fence line that needs a position back and track location. It could be a center offline rotation to a graph interference. It could be a problematic system location. Electrical light connection doesn't have antenna to its position location, to its baseline connection. So many levels of travel. So it becomes more real when you learn how to balance you first to its protection locations, right? But you have to learn how to use your ecosystems, guys, because it measures all lines of view, how you interpret your levels, heat signature patterns, your temperature readings, your thermometers, locations. It's all calculated and modified inside you, right? But you have to understand the scales of you, right? Correlates line center locations of time. Okay? So, balance of direction. Yeah. Yeah. Balancing out your travels, how fast you're traveling. Know exactly. So it's about understanding, you know how to travel fast, but what are you traveling through? This. From this to this, you went, right? So what happened from here to here? Triangulation times pi. How much time did it take you to get from here to here in seconds location? It's all through your clocking, right? So we'll get more into that. All right. So tomorrow we go to the meteorological line center, planet line center location, and the other solar system location. It's in a universal location into 1 million line platforms. All right. So we'll be 1 million years line center. Tomorrow location of sequence. You guys have to learn how to balance out your ecosystem and scales your temperature readings. All right. So yeah, I know there's a lot. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. It's important you understand these things. There's really more interline its connection to all levels. How you use your pixelation, the colorations, your hand information is changing color. You have to understand, why is it changing color? Because you change your thought of your mind. So wait a minute, I got too much blue here in line center location of my arm. What's going on here? This is wrong information. So the astrologic is off center. If you understand that, it's a web graph location. So it's the defrag. You guys have to get into your fragmentation lines. How to defrag into fragmentation. That's what you guys got to get into. Put everything back in balance location to your arm line center, to its position, location, and direction. Or anything that's off signal has to put you back balance into your scales of rotation. Keeping yourself in the high line center to your connections of yin and yang. Okay? So, more balance, yeah. Well, now you understand a little bit more of the scales and why it's so important to understand the thermometer and how it positions location to its gravity system. Temperature readings. Wherever you go through atmosphere line center, you have to understand your position, location of directions because you're changing coloration of vibration every single time. Every second, minute, hour, day of your calculation, right? But you have to recognize these things, not every day, the same day. Because that's what you're living in the now, right? You have to get out of your structure lines and you have to get in more formation location, how to use your scales of provision, okay? This internalines position locations of directions, how you use your vibrations. So, yeah. So you guys got a half an hour to recuperate, drink your waters. All right, and I'll see you guys on Zoom. Adios.